Thank you, everybody, for joining us today on International Women's Day as part of International Women's Month. It is a lunch and learn, a true lunch and learn, as you will see. You have free lunch provided by Oppenheimer Funds and the Financial Women's Association of New York. I'm David Cowan, the president of the museum. I do want to welcome you. I want to thank Oppenheimer Funds and Financial Women's Association, FWA New York, again for sponsorship of 2 free Saturdays. Here are the first 2 free Saturdays in March. We are sincerely appreciative. I also want to thank Kim Weinrich of Oppenheimer Funds, and she's also a member of the museum's Communications Executives Advisory Panel, and Rhea Davis, the executive director of FWA New York. As well as point out that Martha Goss joins us, and she is a member of the museum's Board of Trustees. So I'm going to turn it over to Rhea, who's going to introduce the panel, and we look forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here today, International Women's Day. It's a wonderful occasion to have this group together. We would also, the FWA, would like to thank and acknowledge the Museum of American Finance. First of all, this is our second program with them. We did this last year for the first time, and the museum has just been wonderful in terms of putting the program together and doing all of the real heavy lifting. And we would like to acknowledge Oppenheimer Funds. Oppenheimer Funds not only is sponsoring 2 free Saturdays, which was last Saturday, and this coming Saturday at the museum. They also did provide lunches for everybody, and they also sponsored a program that we had here this morning with our high school mentoring students and their mentors, and our college mentoring students and mentors as well. So thank you very much to Kim and to Oppenheimer Funds. Today's Lunch and Learn event features Candace Straight, who's one of the first female investment bankers on Wall Street and an FWA past president. She is also the executive producer of the movie Equity, and we're going to see the trailer from the movie in just a moment. Ms. Straight will be interviewed by Dr. Melissa Fisher. Dr. Fisher is an anthropologist, an educator, and also the author of Wall Street Women, which is a history of women working on Wall Street from 1956 to the 2000s, and coincidentally, a history of the FWA. The program today is going to be a discussion on how the cross-cultural Wall Street gendered workplace has influenced the trajectory of women working on Wall Street for the past 60 years and continues to impact both men and women today. So I will now turn the program over to Dr. Fisher and to Candace Straight. I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
I'll start over. My name is Melissa Fisher and Candace Straight, and we're very glad to be with you. I do want to mention that Candy was one of the first people that I got introduced to when I first started to do my dissertation at Columbia University in the Department of Anthropology in the 90s, and she actually plays a character in my book, Mindy Plain.
I'm Mindy Plain, if anybody wants to read the book.
Yeah, so we've been working together, and I'm very excited that she became the executive producer of Equity. So we're going to start today by my asking Candy some questions and then open it up to the audience. How many of you have seen Equity? We're just curious. Okay, so a good handful, and hopefully the rest of you will have the opportunity. I think it's on pay-per-view at this point, in New York at least.
And you can buy it DVD or on Amazon or iTunes.
Okay. So one of the questions that, one of the things, the themes of the movie that you can see even if you haven't seen it, right, is through the trailer is we start off with these women saying it's all right to say, I like money. Money is not a dirty word. So I wanted to ask Candy about sort of one question. I'll put my glasses on. Is it really okay now for women to say that they like money publicly, in the workplace? What do you think? And the movie shows that.
Well, let me say this, that yes, it is okay. And people should follow their dreams on what type of a career they want. And on Wall Street, money is always a marker. of your success. I mean, there's no question. Did you take a company public and was it successful? How much money was raised in that public offering? Did you represent another company? And this is in the world of investment banking, which is what we deal with in this movie, and sell it to another company. And, if people thought it was going to be sold, I'm making this up, for $750 million and you got $825 million, and you were a man, you'd walk around and say how you got a better price than you thought. So that women should understand that. One of the underlying stories, though, is that people in high-pressure jobs, and Wall Street is a high-pressure world and a high-pressure job, sometimes have to confront ethical questions. And how these three women, this is the first time there's ever been a movie where there were three women as the lead in Wall Street, how they deal with those ethical questions.
Right. So one of my questions is, I mean, if you remember the genre of Wall Street films has always been very male-dominated. I think back to the first film, right, Wall Street, with Michael Douglas, right? And Greed is Good and Gordon Gekko. And so I wanted to ask Candy, that's the 1980s, a kind of different moment in time, a kind of masculinity. I'm an anthropologist, by the way, so I'm the academic side of the panel. Do you think that the message of equity and women liking money is the same as the Gordon Gekko character, or is it different? In other words, is there a different message about women and money that was different from 30 years ago and men talking about money?
This is totally different, this movie. I mean, and I'm going to say that the Gordon Gekko movie is not indicative of all Wall Street in any way, shape, or form. And I believe, and both men and women on Wall Street have told me this, they thought that equity was a really realistic view of Wall Street. And that's what, this movie was financed, over 80% of the money came from women, primarily women on Wall Street. There was 25 of us, women on Wall Street. We had a few good men that gave money, which we were very grateful for that. But we wanted to portray Wall Street in very realistic terms. And the other movies did not portray Wall Street in very realistic terms. And we think you can still tell a good story while not bashing Wall Street, and that was our goal.